Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's start our Saturday class with some Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshine Bhagavati Mashtadasha Dhyayane Amutvam Anusandhame Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshine नमो अस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णा प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान मया प्रदीप प्रपन्न पारिजाताये तोत्र वेत्र एक पाने ज्ञान मुद्राए कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोणतटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्ये ग्रावती कृपेन वाहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोरमकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवैरन नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशर्ये वत्सरोजमलम गीता अर्थगंधोटकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन शतपदे रह पेपिये मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वंदे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्तवे वेदै सांग पद क्रम उपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यानवस्थि तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुसुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. Today we're going to look at in a summary form chapter 11, and the title of this chapter is Vishwarupa Darshan Yog. Okay, and in the previous chapter enough data was given to us for that self or God or that truth, absolute truth, which is the substratum for the multiple world. He gave us many, many examples. In this chapter, the attempt is to supply Arjun with a practical demonstration that everything does exist only in the self. To see the self peeping through the windows of a finite objects is relatively an easy task. That God is in the sun, God is in the moon, God is everywhere. But it is hard for a mortal to cognize at once the entire universe in one reality. The self, that means all this is a self. See, just like in the form, we can see that Lord Ram's form, Lord Krishna's form, our Guru's form, we can see God there. That's easy. To see God everywhere, difficult. This is possible only when we have Gyan Chaksha, the eye of wisdom, or eye of knowledge. We need to develop the art of discrimination. We got to have a sufficient amount of detachment. Only then we can forget for the moment all the attachments and view only on the self. Otherwise, we keep on looking at the things separately. We got to look at it, just think about it. Why do we look at things separately? Even though it's a oneness there, how come we don't look at the unity? If we analyze it clearly, carefully, we will come to the conclusion that it is the concept of space that divides the physical structures into independent islands almost. That which separates me from you or me from any object in front of me is the intervening space. There's no space between the shoulder and my arm. There's a oneness. But between my fingers, there's a space. So that oneness is not viewed. So if the concept of space is totally blotted out, it will be clear that all objects will immediately come together into a happy embrace. It's like a congenial, homogeneous whole. And this is the concept of a cosmic man. And this is the concept in this Vishwarupa Darshan chapter. Space got dried up with the power of Lord Krishna for Arjun. So in the mind of the Arjuna, he dried up the space so that he could see the whole universe as though his own palm. And having seen the form, Arjun gets completely converted both in his faith and in his understanding. Because this was the experience, this is a subjective experience which he had. So in this chapter, we'll find how dramatic the whole thing is. Rishi Vyas has squeezed the Sanskrit language to heighten the dramatic situation. Not only that, he painted very clearly the emotions of wonderment, the amazement, the fear also, the reverence also, devotion, all of it in this chapter we see coming out of Arjun's mouth. So let's start in the very first verse. Arjun said, "By this word of the highest secret concerning the self, which you have spoken out of compassion towards me, my delusion is gone." So he's admitting, I'm not deluded anymore. So he is expressing his complete satisfaction at the details which Lord Krishna gave to him in the last chapter. So like a description of the last chapter. So he says, delusion is removed, or the misunderstanding which I had, it's all gone. Because I have acquired the knowledge of the real. But we all know that removal of delusion is one aspect of the process of knowing the truth. It's only one part. Then he says, the origin and destruction of beings verily have been heard by me in detail from you, and also your own greatness. Now in the following verse, verse number 3, he's demanding something. He says, now, O Supreme Lord, as you have described yourself, I wish to see you. Actually, your divine form, I want to see you. He says, I don't doubt that you are divine. I don't doubt that God is everywhere, but I want to see it too. Drashtum ichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottam. So he's demanding a demonstration. You cannot demand a guru. So that's what he recognized right away. In the next verse, he's smoothing his words. He says, if you think it is possible for me to see it, please, then, O Lord of Yoga, show me your imperishable self-form. So it's like with a dignified humility and pure reverence, he's requesting that now. Almost like a humble request And whenever there's a humble request of an earnest student, it will never fall on the deaf ears to a true teacher. So Lord Krishna said in verse number 5, behold, O Partha, my forms by hundreds and thousands of different sorts and divine of various colors and shapes. He says they are right there. Look at them. It was not necessary for Lord Krishna to change his form to a cosmic man. All that Arjun had to do was to behold the form right in front of him. That's why he said, behold, Pashya me Partha Rupane Shatashaha At Sahasrasa. But the instrument of perception was not tuned up. We all know in order to bring the further object within the span of vision, the observer will have to make the required adjustments to the telescope. Same way, Krishna did not transform himself into his cosmic form, but he only helped Arjun to make the necessary inward adjustments. He said, behold the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the Ashwins, also the Maruts, behold many wonders never seen before, O Bharat. And we learned about these terms in the last chapter. He says, they are right here in my cosmic form. So now Lord Krishna has increased the intellectual curiosity of his disciple. Where exactly is he to look for these things? Then in the verse number 7, Lord Krishna says, now behold in this body that the whole universe centered in one, including the moving and the unmoving, and whatever else you desire to see. Everything is in here. It's like a one in the many was described in the last chapter. Now we are about to see the many in the one. All of that in one. Then Lord Krishna says, but you are not able to behold me with these eyes of yours. I will give you the divine eyes. And behold my lordly yoga. Divyam dadami te chakshuhu pashye me yogam ashwaram. See, I'll give you these divya chakshu. It's almost like to read a poem. Sure, only a knowledge of the alphabet is necessary. But to really understand it, the subtlety and the beauty, or even to do some kind of a comparative study, we need a mastermind. That's why when we study the Upanishads, if we literally read it, sure, we know Sanskrit. Or if it's written in English, we can read it, but we cannot understand it. The subtlety of these things need to be, it's a different thing. So the one in the many is the work of the heart, soaked in faith. But to perceive the many in the one, we need, besides the heart, an educated intellect that has learned to see for itself the logic of the philosophers. So this obvious fact is explained by the Lord when he says that you cannot see me with these eyes of yours. I give you the divine vision, divya chaksha. Then we see in the verse number 9, the scene shifts to Hastinapur in the palace of Dhritarashtra, that blind king. Because Sanjay is seeing all this too. He's not only seeing the Arjun and the Krishna and the war zone, he is seeing what Arjun is seeing. So the divine eyes were not just only for the Arjun. Sanjay already had the divine eyes. And that was the grace of Rishi Vyas. So having thus spoken, O king, the great lord of yoga, Hari showed to Parth his supreme form as the lord of the universe. Because he promised that I'll show it to you. So now Sanjay is revealing also that Arjun is saying that. But he is calling his king just a king, O king. But to Lord Krishna, he is calling Mahayogeshwar, the great Lord of yoga. And Hari, that is God's name. The one who maintains, the champion of truth by destroying the powers of falsehood. That's Hari. So in a very rough outline, Sanjay describes the list of the things which were visible to Arjun. He says in the verse number 10, with the numerous mouths and eyes, with the numerous wonderful sights, with the numerous divine ornaments, with the numerous divine weapons uplifted, wearing divine garlands and apparels, anointed with the divine perfumes, the all wonderful, resplendent, boundless with faces on all sides. If the splendor of 1,000 suns was to blaze all at once in the sky, that would be like the splendor of that mighty being. So in these verses, he is just giving us an outline of what Arjun is saying. Then he adds, there in the body of the God of gods, the Pandav then saw the whole universe resting in one with all its infinite parts. Then Dhananjay is another name for Arjun. Filled with wonder, with his hair standing on end, that's like a goosebumps, bowed down his head to the God and spoke with the joined palms. Because when he saw that something so big, so magnificent, what did he say? Arjun's actual words of wonderment. I see all the gods, O God, in your body, and hosts of various classes of beings. Brahma, the Lord of creation, seated on a lotus, all the rishis and celestial serpents. I see everything in you. Like a very gripping details, which can unnerve even the most courageous. So Arjun says, I see you of boundless form on every side, many arms, stomachs, mouths, and eyes. Neither your end nor the middle, nor also the beginning do I see, O Lord of the universe, O cosmic form. I see you with crown, club, and discus, a mass of radiance, shining everywhere, very hard to look at, all around, blazing like burning fire and sun, and incomprehensible. See these conch, discus, club, and lotus. These are the four-armed Vishnu is normally depicted like that. Lotus represent the peace and joy, auspiciousness and happiness. Conch blows and calls men to duty. Club hammer the generation to shape and discipline who does not listen, and discuss even after the punishment if there be a generation so totally dissipated and doesn't want to improve. This Kal Chakra comes to annihilate. So symbolically, this is a message that Vishnu does this. Arjun is still talking. He says, you are the imperishable, the supreme being, worthy to be known. You are the great treasure house of this universe. You are the imperishable protector of the eternal dharma. In my opinion, you are the ancient Purush. I see you without beginning, middle, or end, infinite in power, infinite arms. The sun and moon being your eyes, the burning fire your mouth, heating the whole universe with your own radiance. This space between the earth and the heaven and all the quarters is filled by you alone. Having seen this, your wonderful and terrible form, the three worlds are trembling with fear. O great soul. Arjun, we know, had doubts regarding the possibilities of his success in the war. Because we know on the Kaurav side, the great warriors were there too. In order to remove this doubt, Lord Krishna is giving Arjun a peep into the future. That was the real reason Lord Krishna showed this to him. He showed him that all the sons of the Dhritarashtra, the hosts of kings of the earth, Bhishma, Drona, and the son of the charioteer Karan, with the warrior chieftains of ours. It's not only the Kauravas died. There's a lot of destruction on the Pandav side too. Arjun says, into your mouths with the terrible teeth and fearful to behold, they hurriedly enter. Some are found sticking in the gaps with the teeth with their heads crushed into powder. And why and how do they enter? Arjun says, just like a moth rushes hurriedly into a blazing fire to his own destruction, so all these creatures hastily rush into your mouth for their own destruction. Then he asks, he says, tell me who you are, so fierce in form. Salutations to you, O God Supreme. Have mercy, I desire to know you, the original being. I do not know indeed your purpose. Then Lord Krishna says, I am the mighty world-destroying time. Now engaged in destroying the worlds. See, God can create, God can sustain, and God can destroy also. Even without you, none of the warriors arrayed in hostile armies shall live. Therefore, as a representative, man of all times, Arjun is advised to perform fearless action in life. That means do your duty. Lord Krishna says, stand up, obtain fame, conquer the enemies, enjoy the flourishing kingdom. Verily, by myself, they have already been slain. You be a mere instrument, O left-handed archer. Left-handed archer means you are an expert archer. You can do it so easily. Why are you afraid? Arjun said, you are the primal God, ancient Purush. You are the supreme refuge of this universe. You are the knower, the knowable, abode supreme. By you is the universe pervaded, O being of infinite forms. Salutations to you before and behind. Salutations to you on every side. O all, you, infinite in power and infinite in prowess, you pervade all. You are all. Whatever I have rashly said from carelessness or love. Because they were friends, they were cousins also, they were very close. But now Arjun is recognizing he is God himself. So that's why he's praying also and asking for forgiveness also. You are, O Krishna, O Yadav, O friend, and regarding you merely as a friend, unknowing of this greatness of yours, in whatever way I may have insulted you for the sake of fun, while at play, reposing or sitting, or at meals, when alone with you, or in company, that immeasurable one, I implore you to forgive. You are the Father of the world, moving and unmoving. You are to be adored by this world. You are the greatest Guru. There exists none who is equal to you. How can there be another superior to you in the three worlds? Therefore, he says, I bow down. I prostrate my body. I crave your forgiveness, O adorable Lord. As a father forgives his son, a friend his friend, a lover his beloved, even so should you forgive me. These are like a close relationships. He's mentioning, you are just like that to me. Please forgive my mistakes. Arjun now prays to the Lord to resume his usual form, because he was totally terrified of this transcendental form. He says, I am delighted having seen you, what was never seen before, yet my mind is distressed with fear. Show me your previous form only, O God. Have mercy, O God of gods, abode of the universe. Seeing Arjun afraid, the Lord withdrew his universal form, and consoling Arjun with his sweet words, Lord Krishna said, graciously by me, O Arjun, this supreme form has been shown to you by my own yoga power, full of splendor, primal, infinite. This universal form of mine has never been seen by any other than yourself. Neither by the study of the Vedas, nor by sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by rituals, nor by severe taps can I be seen in this form in the world of men by any other than yourself, O great hero among the Gurus. Be not afraid, not bewildered on seeing such a terrible form of mine as this. With your fear dispelled and with gladdened heart, now behold again this form of mine. And the scene again shifts to Hastinapur, and Sanjay says to that blind king that having thus spoken to Arjun, Vasudeva again showed his own form, and the great souled one, assuming his gentle form, consoled him who was so terrified. Now Arjun said, having seen this, your gentle human form, I am now composed and restored to my own nature. Lord Krishna said, very hard indeed it is to see this form of mine which you have seen. Even the gods are ever longing to behold this form. In verse number 53, he says, neither by the Vedas, nor by austerity, nor by gifts, nor by sacrifices can I be seen in this form as you have seen me. So then in the next verse, what really compelled Lord Krishna to shower his special favors to Arjun, or sometimes to few people, but not upon at all times? How come we don't see it? And if we want to see it, how can we see it? How can we get this kind of a grace? He says in verse number 54, but by single-minded devotion, I can of this form be known, seen in reality, and also entered into. So single-minded devotion. Devotion means love. If you can love God and God only. He says, Gyatum drashtum cha tatvena parveshtum cha paramtap. It's not only the knowledge, not just the theoretical knowledge. You can see me and you can enter into me too. You can become one with me. That is what yoga is all about. We know the culmination of yoga is a samadhi. Samadhi is where we enter into that. How though? Last verse. He who does actions for me, he who looks upon me as the supreme, who is devoted to me, who is free from attachment, who bears enmity towards none. No hatred towards anybody. He comes to me, O Pandav. Mat karam krit mat parma mad bhagta sang varchita. Nirvaira sarvabhuteshu yasamam eti Pandav. So conditions required to be a true seeker, true bhagat, he mentions in this last verse. Because in the previous verse he said, my bhagat, only my bhagat. One-pointed love. But how do we cultivate that? He gives us here. Number one, whose work is all dedicated to the Lord. Whatever you do, whether you are cleaning the floor or whether you are running a corporation, you are doing it for God. That means the fruits of the actions, they will come to you, but you are not doing it for the fruits of the actions, you are doing it for God. And any action, when we do it for God, it becomes pure, because we'll not do a bad action. We cannot say that I'm going to hurt somebody and I'm pleasing God. No, it doesn't work that way. Whose goal is the Lord? I want that goal only. I want to become one with God. Number three, who's a devotee of the Lord, lover of the God, who is free from all attachments. Worldly attachments, attachments to the outcomes, free from the attachments. Who is devoid of all sense of hatred towards everyone. No hatred in the mind at all. So these are the 5 conditions required of a bhagat. Love for all and hatred for none can be considered the Gita touchstone to know the quality of realism and intensity of experience. A seeker wants to gain through the sadhana. This is what he's talking about in this chapter. And we'll see that the next chapter, Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12. Some of these qualities are mentioned again in the next chapter, because that is like a climax of our Bhakti Yoga. So through the bhakti, through the love for God, we become one with God. Okay, let's do the Shanti part also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.